Competition and BBQ Team. Soon to be a chiropractor, Andy Moss is red hot.
Hey, Daryl from BBQ Superstars. We're down here in Newman, Georgia, and man, it's so exciting. We got us a brand new member right here, Andy Moss. How we doing, Andy?
Good, Daryl. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Coming down.
Now, Southern Touch BBQ Team out of Rocky Mountain, Georgia. They got a Rocky Mountain, North Carolina. They just got Rocky Mountains in every state, and I know them are some good towns to live in. And big-time caterer, big-time competition team, and our newest BBQ Superstars member. And how we doing today, Andy?
Good, man. Glad to be here. Glad you got to come down and hang out with us this weekend.
Well, tell us a little bit about your competition team now. I know you do a lot of sanctioning bodies, and you're in the GBA this week. And what are you looking for in the GBA? What's going to be your best category? What kind of competition are we looking at?
Actually, this is our first GBA competition. It's close to the house, so much travel to do. You might as well do some in your backyard, and we've been wanting to do some anyway. So this weekend, GBA, you do pork loin.
How you feel about that category?
We'll see what happens. I know I can keep it juicy and moist, so that's what they're looking for. So if we can do that and get the flavor where they want, I'll be okay with it. He also cook Boston butt and ribs here, so looking forward to doing that.
Well, in the GBA, they say if it ain't pork, it ain't barbecue. And I noticed a lot of people who've thrown in to help you with your barbecue team. And could you name them all for us and give a little thank you out there?
I can. I want to start by thanking sponsors, John Wilson Grading out of Fayetteville, Georgia, and Davis Chiropractic Center out of Peachtree City, Georgia. They've helped out quite a bit, and we want to thank them and for all the help they've had. And they really helped us when we were getting started, and it really helped out a lot with that. I also want to thank my family, for putting up with us doing this, and my daughter and wife, they'll be out tomorrow, but they can't hang out for the 3 days with us, so they'll be out tomorrow. They're really understanding when it comes to this. And then I also want to thank my teammates, Richard and Sybil Elrod. Come on in, Richard.
Hey, Mr. Elrod.
Nice to meet you. Doing great, sir. Doing great. Appreciate you coming out.
Tell us what you do on the team.
Well, I'm mainly just kind of the helper. I keep him straight mainly, but I try to keep everything where he don't have to do it. I'll have it for him right there, and he don't have to ask for it. I know what he's going to need next and how he's going to do it. Been with him since 2008 cooking, so I pretty much know what he's going to do before he does it.
Do you run boxing?
I run boxes. Anything else needs to be done.
And I tell you, that's an important part of the team, and that's the thing about this thing is it's not just a one-man show. I mean, it's a team effort, and that's what makes it a sport, folks. Barbecue competition is a serious sport these days, and there's certain things you're judged on and certain ways that you got to present the boxes, the presentation, and then there's a timing factor also. I mean, you got a certain time that you got to turn that stuff in and have it really laid out perfectly. So tell us about your catering business now. I know you got a large catering business, and people can call you. And about what areas you serve?
Anywhere in west central Georgia is where we're located. We can have plenty of time in advance. We can do pretty much anything. I'd say in the north half of Georgia, or even in central Georgia. We just need time in advance to know and be able to plan for it. I'm a chiropractic student, so I go to school full time. So if I can plan around that, and we can do it on the weekends or during the breaks when I'm off, we can do it. We do a lot of weddings and graduation parties and stuff like that. So.
Man, huge combination. Professionals get involved in big-time barbecue, and man, that's really exciting. Got a little education out here, and we need more of that out here in the barbecue circuit. And I just got to ask you now, what kind of sauces and rubs? I mean, not the names, but do you buy sauces or do you make your own?
We used to make our own rubs. With that, today it's just easier. By the time you spend all the money on the spices and come up with it, a lot of these people have perfected that, so it's just easier to buy name brand rubs these days if you find one that works and it's good. And our own sauces, we actually did the reverse. We used to buy sauces, now we make our own, try to get exactly what we're looking for. And it's been working pretty good for us so far. So.
Well, now, I've got to ask you the big question. Down the road, what are your expectations? I mean, you trying to go big time with this thing, or go all the way with these big national sanctioning bodies, or what's your plans?
The plan is just go as far as we can possibly go. I mean, I love doing this. Like I say, I'm kind of on a budget right now being in school, but hopefully that'll that'll kind of feed my barbecue competition addiction there a little bit. But other than that, I mean, that's just as far as we can go, and you know, just keep getting better, really.
Well, folks, now he's going to have Barbecue Superstars in his corner. He is a Barbecue Superstars member, and folks, we broadcast to people who are our members. We got Gary Lant down here as a big-time member on Barbecue Superstars, and we're really glad to have you aboard and everything. Now, folks, hold on, don't leave, because he's fixing to do a hell of a rib prep. How many racks of ribs you got?
We've got 6 racks right now. We're only going to do 2 right now. We're going to save the rest and do them later on this afternoon. But also, I want to thank you, Barbecue Superstars, for what you guys do for the sport and getting everything out there. And it helps to put this stuff out there where a lot of people don't get to come to the competitions, you know. This is their way of seeing it, so we really thank you for that as well.
Now, one last thing I want to make sure we put in here is, you know, we talk about all these cookers that people use and everything. I noticed you got 2 gravity flows and the stump smokers, and you know, old Stump out there is a fantastic, nice guy, but he's got a hell of a cooker. And you know, Bubba Q's won massive amount. He's won the GBC 3 years in a row on stumps, and you know, it's a proven product. But what drew you to the stumps?
Stump himself, and the very first, one of the first competitions we did, I think it was the second competition we did actually. We were up feeding a stick burner all night. We stayed up, 52 hours straight one weekend.
52 hours?
Straight one weekend at a competition, and we saw Rub. He was using Stump Sam Swamp Boys. We saw him and Bubba. They were all up there, and the lights out, and the only thing on was the Guru shining on there. And we said, man, the next weekend we went and got a Stumps and never looked back. Right? Got another one on top of that, so that's...
I told him I was getting too old for that. I'm 63 years old. We're going to do something one way or the other. I'm getting out. I'll mention one other thing, too. I remember United Methodist Church in Lucasville, Georgia, and we always try to help a congregation. Some of them that going to get down and out and all that. And we had one woman that was real back behind on her taxes. So preacher and I got together, and we were going to have a barbecue fund. So we cooked, I think it was, 16 butts.
It ended up being close to 30 butts.
30 butts. And Andy didn't hesitate a second to help me. Cooked all night long, got all of them pulled for the church, and made a real good progress. A lot of turnout, good people. So thank Andy for doing that. So we'll help anybody we can.
And that's what barbecue's all about. Is about charity and helping people and going into the community. And how did it make you feel helping that woman?
It felt good, man. Like I say, anytime you can do what you love doing and you're helping somebody in the process, it don't get any better than that, man.
Now, the big question that ended off before we go in here and get this hell yeah rack of ribs on here, how could somebody go ahead and get a hold of you about doing a catering for them, or if they wanted you to come out and do a special cook, or just a sponsor who wants to get in touch with you? Now, folks, the thing about this fella right here is, you know, you might go out here and see a lot of rigs that look older or pretty beat up and everything. He has got a class act, well, chiropractic student level setup out here. So, you know, your logos and your banners and your merchandise will look so good on this rig. And I don't know what the magic is about the barbecue teams, but as you well know, if somebody goes by and sees your logo on a banner or on the side of this rig, they automatically going to try. You're going to get sales. But how can somebody get a hold of you about sponsorship?
If you do Facebook, you can go on Facebook, Southern Touch BBQ. You can do it that way, and it'll actually send you to my personal page, and you can contact me that way. Or you can contact me via email at the letter D, Andrew, ANDREW, MOSS at yahoo.com. So D, Andrew Moss at yahoo.com.
Wow, well, you heard it right here. We got another one. We're really excited about what Andy's doing. Now, folks, hold on to your hats. Don't go anywhere. If you're watching live TV tonight on the front of Barbecue Superstars, this week is being brought to you by PG 500 Fast Eddie Cook Shack. So if you go down below the top video, we got a 2-hour cook there of that. But you're getting ready to find out how a big-time competitor does his ribs. And let me just give you a minute to talk to all the barbecue world out there. Can you tell your competitors just a few words of encouragement, or look out, I'm coming through?
You never know. One weekend you cook the same thing, one weekend you'll be first place, next weekend cook the same exact stuff, you'll be last place. We try not to talk too much, but we're going to give it what we have, I can tell you that.
I like the way you put that. So let's move on to the cooking. Andy Moss, Southern Touch Barbecue. Make sure you get in touch with them for all your barbecue needs. Moving on. All right, Andy, about ready to get down to business, and this is a real GBA cook, so you fixing to go to town these ribs.
Yep, we're going to try a couple of ribs, slam the ribs here a little bit, and show you how we do it.
What kind of ribs do you generally use at a contest?
We cook spare ribs, or really St. Louis style, but I find if you buy the ribs St. Louis style, a lot of times you have to do trimming on them anyway, and other times, you know, they trim too much. So actually, I buy the spare ribs and just trim them down myself. That way you get pretty much what you want. Make the classic St. Louis style, we'll just square them off good.
So you cut from the front?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, just however they're laying, however they work best. I'll have to get another knife. I just want them uniform. A lot of people use these for rib tips, and some people use them to put in stews and things of that nature. Sit that on the side right now. We usually don't mess with them too often.
What do you generally look for when you look for ribs?
What I look for, a lot of people get them where they look real lean and have a lot of fat on them. And you don't want a lot of surface fat. The way we do it, you don't want a lot of surface fat, but you do want a lot of fat in here. Now, if this was built up a lot more than what it is all the way across, you know, you may come and trim some of that fat there off. But you know, the more marbling, ribs are just like any other piece of meat. The more marbling you have in them, you know, the better it's going to be as far as the tenderness and flavor. So try to find some that are, you know, they don't have a lot of fat like this all the way through. Some of that will come and trim off. Plus your rubs won't stick to the fat or any kind of you don't have to worry about ribs, but a lot of the silver skin, stuff like that. Flip it over, take this piece of meat off the back.
Man, that's really a great job on taking that piece of meat off. Now, folks, look at there.
Now we're going to get rid of this membrane on the back. Trick I found out earlier, I was trying to use a knife, and you know, a lot of people use a butter knife or a spoon and stuff like that to get it started. Paper towel, they're pretty sticky when it comes to grabbing stuff that's slick and wet. Take a paper towel, usually they come right off.
Man, hard as I struggle to get them off, you made it look so easy.
Yeah, somebody cut me a nice little slit right there, the only reason they come off in one piece.
Oh.
That's about it. And if you have any kind of a fat buildup like this, you might want to take some of that off.
Now, what is that fat there that you don't want when you're cooking?
Well, if you want an even rub on there, like I say, a lot of that rub may come off during the cook because it, you know, it doesn't. The rub does not stick to the fat. Should get all that membrane off there. This bone's already protruding, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece out just to make it look good and uniform.
Them last three will burn out pretty much anyway, so.
At this point, if you have any with the rib face down, if you have any pieces that are hanging out on each side, just trying to trim them. You just want it looking as uniform as it can, as you can get it. finished right there. That way we put our rubs on, you're not getting all this juice that are in the bags. Just square it up good. This is a real pretty piece of meat here. You can see the marbling running all through it. I mean, it's nice.
Man, that's a pretty even straight cut too. I wish I could cut it that straight. Now folks, if you notice, he's going to have it even from one end to the other, completely straight, and that's an art. That's hard to do. But now that knife will cut through the cartilage, so you can kind of pick it, can't you?
Yeah, it's cutting through cartilage and bone. So usually you want to kind of sharpen them in between cuts. You can also give a little pressure there. Come right off. It's through cartilage and bone there.
Now, there are some people that we've heard that are tailoring now so the bones will stick out farther.
Yeah, you can do that. A lot of it too depends on your cooking process and your heat, how you do it. If you don't cook quite as long on the ribs, or your heat isn't quite as high, then the bones may not protrude as much. So it just depends on, you know, what you want your finished product to be, and, you know, your cooking style. There we got a nice square piece of, or rectangle piece of ribs all squared off on each side.
Man, beautiful, straight, even, and consistency throughout. So each one of those ribs, hopefully, will look. And you set them side by side in that box, you're going to get a nice product there.
You know, in a perfect world, you put all your turn-in meat in the box for your ribs. You get them all off the same slab because they're all going to be slab. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. So if you can get all your racks uniform, then you have a better chance. But if you had to pull off another slab, you have a better chance of, you know, them looking pretty similar. Take the membrane off this one again. Now you hear people leaving the membrane on. Most of your competitors won't do that, but there are a few that do. They swear it holds in the juices of the ribs so the juices doesn't leak out the bottom. And that may be the case, but it's also hard to get your flavor in from the bottom. If you really think about it, when you take a rib and you put it in your mouth, the first thing that touches that rib is your tongue on the bottom side of that rib. So if you can get flavor there, that's going to be the first thing that the judges taste.
So the bottom is important too.
Oh yeah. A lot of people don't or do not, you know, treat the bottom like they do the top. You know, the top's important because it's, you know, you're going to be eating it as well, but, you know, that's the first thing you see. But the bottom's important because it's really the first thing that the tongue is going to touch. So, you got that one. It looks pretty good. Put it over here.
Okay, now before you get started on your, well, tell us about your shakers. I mean, and how important shakers are.
You'll see a lot of people, and you know, we're kind of the same way. A lot of people, they think because you're using a bottle with that rub on there, or the name on there, that's what rub you're using. We have used this rub in the past. I don't do it anymore, just it wasn't quite the flavor profile I was looking for. But these shaker bottles are excellent. I mean, they have big pores on them, so it comes out, and it doesn't clump. A lot of your rubs will come through, it'll get stuck in the top there. And you have to keep turning the bottle over, and you have to shake it and keep, you know, these things, I mean, it just comes right out nice. So
there's a lot of teams using them shakers, isn't there?
Yeah, I love these shakers here. I mean, like I say, as many as I can get, I get them, and, you know, keep different rubs on there. So I just have to remember, have to put tape on the top so I know what I have to remember, have to put tape on the top so I know what I have in there. All right. This first rub we're going on with is going to be just a base rub that I put on. It's going to be a little bit salty, a little bit of pepper, and then our competition rub, come back on there. It's going to have a little bit of salt and pepper in it, but it's more predominantly sweet. So that way we're covering all our bases there. And one of the arts of this is getting it to where everything is uniform on there. You don't want to start shaking and have a heavy spot here and light here and heavy here and light there.
Even coating.
Even coating. And this is really where a good shaker, a good rub bottle or rub shaker comes into play. This is what we're going to take and turn them over.
Man, I can smell that flavor.
Good even coating. I don't put it on too heavy with this rub. Like I said, it's got a lot of salt and pepper in it. So, just kind of put it on like at this point, roll them.
Roll them up.
Set them up on the end so you can get the ends good.
Okay, I have a trouble with that because I try to do it all folded out.
This way you can keep one hand clean. Take them, flip them over. Sometimes they don't want to do exactly right. You can use a manipulator somehow or another. Come on my competition row. Go a little bit heavier with this one.
So that's your main top off flavor right there.
That's it. You hear a lot of people talking about flavor profiles. Well, that's exactly what it is. You know, you can put a rub on there and it may not have exactly what you want in it, or you may be saying, I wish it had such and such on there. I wish it had a little more bite, or I wish it was a little more sweet. So that's really where you applying two rubs come into play. You just have to be careful because a lot of your rubs have the same ingredients, and you have to take in mind that you might be doubling some of the ingredients.
Now folks, just as much on the back as the front, because he said your tongue hits the back as well as the front, and man, I tell you, you can just sense that flavor that's going on there. It's just going to be a fantastic base coat. Now, after you put your sauce on, boy, this rub, it just throws a huge effect in the meat, doesn't it?
It does. Like I say, our sauce it's got a pretty strong flavor itself. So I like to use it more of a glaze, just a light glaze, and I do, piling the sauce on there. But if you can. You want everything to kind of be balanced. So if you can taste the rub a little bit, and taste your sauce a little bit, those two together will be like a good heavy rub or a good thick sauce. If you can get everything where they balance out, that's what it's all about, is getting the perfect balance. If you can do that or find that, that's what you're looking for. So.
Now, one other big question is, I know there are some people out there who are going to say, man, he used a lot of rub on them ribs, but that pork will eat that rub on it.
In a hurry. Like I say, it depends on what kind of rub you use too. There's some rubs I use. Perfect example, this first coat I put on top, you put it on light. It depends on what you have in your rub. Some rub, it takes a lot to put in there, for it to taste the way you want the outcome to be. So it really depends on the rubs, and which it's all about, testing and just seeing what comes out the best, what you like the best.
Well, all right. What temperature are you going to put them on at?
I cook my ribs at 300 degrees up front, cook them for an hour and a half, wrap them, and then drop the pit temp when I wrap them to 275 and cook them for another hour and a half. They'll be perfect for competition.
Wow, man, that's beautiful. Look at that beautiful stump smoker.
I tell you, there's a lot of smokers out there, and there may be some that cook as good as the stump.
It's a top echelon cooker, isn't it?
If at all possible, I wouldn't have anything else. I love them, man. I love stumps.
Now, I noticed you put your ribs over top of your butt. Will there be a little transition of flavor there?
There may be, but I'm not really looking for that.
Okay.
I just put them on there. I like to cook on that rack right there. I like to cook ribs on this rack and this rack here, just the way the heat, everything does them.
Guys, barbecue guru. Is there any way we can get a sneak peek at that butt that's right there?
Let me grab a glove here. I just put it on, so it's just getting underway.
He's gotten a beautiful crust forming, and Wow, look at there. Now he's got his probe that's in the meat. He's got one that's in the cooker, and Barbecue Guru is going to manage your temperatures for you.
Take on a little layer.
Well, in closing, we want to thank you. If you'll step in the door just a little further because of the light situation. We want to thank you, Andy, for inviting us in your trailer and for bringing your competition team at Barbecue Superstars. And, I'd just like to give you 1 second to talk to the barbecue teams before we close it out, and to sponsors. What does barbecue competition mean to you?
It means a lot. Back in 2008, we started our first competition, and we actually took first place trophy home in Brothers Stew. It might not have been real barbecue, but it takes a lot to do the stew too. We were hooked at that point. Growing up, probably 4 or 5 years old, being around the first hog being cooked on an open pit, and since then I've cooked about 6 or 8 by myself on open pits. Matter of fact, I just did one this past weekend on open pit. So I've been around it pretty much my whole life with my dad. And actually, I'm dedicating this 2013 season to my dad. He passed away in November, and he was the one that really got me started in barbecue. I dedicate this year to him. And as far as it means a lot, I mean, you love doing it, you have a passion for it. I mean, the only thing you can hope is to be able to continue doing it.
Well, won't be long. It'll be Dr. Andy Moss. And when you get your chiropractic, are you still going to move forward in barbecue competition?
Yeah, honestly, it may be a lot more. I have a few more funds to go around, I hope. You never know. Hopefully a few more funds to go around and go from there. Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else in life, you just try to do it. Try to keep getting better, as long as you're moving that gradual move, which is where we are right now. It's hard to beat. You make you want to keep doing it, because you're getting better,
Well, I'm a registered pharmacist, so professionals are welcome, and we're really glad to have you on, Andy. And he is a huge Barbecue Superstars member, and we'll be looking for you out on the competition trail, looking for your rankings. Now, if you go to KCBS, GBA, FBA, always look for Southern Touch competition barbecue teams so you can see where they're ranked and support them. And also, Andy, just make sure you call in on the radio shows now. Radio shows are really getting big, and we'd be honored to have you on. And if you're a Barbecue Superstars member, you always have first touch and first entrance into all radio shows. As we had a 12,000 listen radio show just the other day. So, all right, well, it's Darryl from Barbecue Superstars. Good luck in your competition tomorrow, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Darryl.